Born to be wild. Yeah!
Let's go wild.
Hey guys, so most of the info that we'll actually talk about in today's episode is taken from the WFFT website. So if you'd like to know more information about anything that we'll talk about, please visit www.wfft.org.
Okay, so when we left Jiri's parents on this Sunday, we left to go to this hotel in Bangkok to stay one night, and it was so shady. Like we only paid £20 for it, but it was so shit. Like we entered the room and the aircon had heaps of dust on it, and the room wasn't finished properly, and it was just
There
it,
was curtains behind the bed, and when you opened the curtains, there was a wall.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, so we stayed one night there, and then we arranged our taxi from there the next morning to go straight to Wildlife Friends Foundation, and it was 2,200 baht, which is 50 quid.
Yeah, it took 3 hours.
It took 3 hours, yeah, and the driver stopped once to let us out to go wee and that, and yeah, it was fine. And then yeah, we arrived at the center. We were greeted by one of the coordinators, and she showed us to our room, and was like, oh, meet back here in an hour type thing, to have your lunch, and then we ended up going on a day tour, and yeah, it was really good. The tour took about 3 hours. And it was around the whole centre in the elephant sanctuary as well, and it was really cool. And all the coordinators, there was 6 of them, and they all had different coloured tops on, and they all looked like Power Rangers.
Yeah, it was
When
pretty cool.
when they did their meeting, it was really cool. Okay, so we're just going to tell you a brief history and introduction about the centre and what this organisation does. And throughout the podcast and forevermore, you'll probably hear us refer to it as WFFT instead of always saying Wildlife Friends Foundation Thailand, just so you know. Okay, so this is their official statement. So WFFT is a nationwide effort involved in rescuing domesticated or captive wild animals.
Yeah, and it was founded by Edwin Week in 2001 with the help of local people here. The center is also on monastery grounds, and the abbot of this monastery, called Khao Lu Chang Temple, has generously given a huge plot of the forest for the animals to live in, which is really nice actually.
Yeah, and the reason why they wanted to do this was because there's so many examples of animals being exploited in Thailand. For example, being used as photo props, animals performing in shows, elephant tracking, and just people, a lot of people in Thailand have animals in small cages and things as a status thing as well. It's you're seen to be richer for having an exotic animal, and it's really
Yeah, it
sad.
seems to be a thing in the whole Southeast Asia apparently as well. So
Yeah.
it's pretty weird. So their mission statements from the website are as follows. So we can expand on each of those points if we have anything to say. So there's the first one is the rescue maltreated or neglected wild animals, which is pretty straightforward and it's pretty cool actually. Also, they provide sanctuary for sick and disabled animals.
Yeah, and they rehabilitate and release where possible and care for those who are unable to be returned to the wild.
Yeah.
And the most important thing they do is they educate people, particularly children, to show them on ways how to not support animal cruelty.
Yeah, it's just pretty cool. There's those tours
Yeah,
basically they do here.
yeah, they do half and full days for the tourists, and it's just a massive educational tour explaining why every single animal is in the wildlife center, and their background stories. Some of them are so sad and tragic. It could be that they were an unwanted pet, or the unwanted pet became aggressive, or they were kept in a tiny cage and concerned locals called it in. Some were just animals that got hit at the side of the road, and obviously a lot of elephants came from tourism as well.
The center is quite actually famous now, so many locals or people who are already connected with the center, they just call up and they say, we found this animal at the road, or macaque or something, and they just like act immediately. And
Yeah, like we got a call today. A macaque was hit by a car, and they were saying that it's like back legs had went. So yeah, like the hospital team went out to go collect it today. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be fine.
Yeah, so another point on their mission statement is campaign against illegal trade in wild animals, discourage use of animals for entertainment, which you can see that especially with the elephants, for example, which have been used in like the what do they call them, Laurie? Like elephant tracking, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing about this. We'll probably talk about this in our future episode on the elephant refuge. Another point is to prevent hurting and promote conservation of all natural resources, which is, the animal kingdom as well as the plant kingdom.
Yeah, and cooperate with and assist royal forestry departments and other organisations with rescue and conservation of wild animals.
So yeah, it's like they're connected with the government here as well, which is quite interesting, and they just do a lot of things. The center is quite huge. So they receive help from several sources. So one of them is, under animal protection organizations. They have connections all over Asia and like other places. If you want to know more about those, just look at the website.
Yeah, and like the volunteers obviously have like a huge part. So I think it's 40% of what we pay goes straight back into the wildlife center and the elephant refugee, and all that money goes back into to the animals and everything else. Like
Yeah, it should contribute directly to the care for the
yeah,
animals.
so that's 40%, and then 60% is like towards our living, our food, and yeah, and obviously you're given all your like energy and time as well, and it's just yeah, it's really rewarding.
So all the like volunteers, they just range like from different ages, different places. Like they stay this like volunteers from like 18 to 75. So they obviously had.
Yeah, there is people from all ages. It's mainly more girls though than guys. Like they're you
Hey, do you think it's like 80% women and 20% males?
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, the guys we've met here are really cool. But yeah, there's not many of them.
So they have the whole WFFT has different departments. Let's say they call it projects, right? So the first one is the Wildlife Rescue Center, and the second one is the Elephant Refuge and Education Center. So these two, actually, we both will be volunteering in both of those. So we'll tell you more about those in their particular episodes.
Yeah.
They also do Wildlife Hospital, which in those three you can actually volunteer if you're interested in each of them, or you can get a combination experience, right?
Yeah, kind of like what we've done. We're doing 2 weeks on wildlife and 3 weeks on elephants, but we could have done, a week on each or 2 on each, or
I'm not sure if you can do
the
the hospital if you're not like a vet student, though.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly you need
it's
to be a
usually
vet
vet
student.
students.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, you could totally look into it. And they also do forest restoration and conservation, gibbon release and research centre. They've got a mobile wildlife clinic, and they've got a street elephant campaign that you can help with as well.
Yeah. So the center currently houses over 600 animals, which is, try to imagine that. And it's just huge, and it keeps growing. So, many volunteers we've met so far, they've been here maybe a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now they're back, and they're like, it's so much bigger, like so much more people as well.
Yeah, because the center is able to like constantly expand and by land because of like how many volunteers and sponsors and things like that they get. Yeah. So also as well, there's like a huge strict hands-off policy on the majority of the centre. So the wildlife centre, it's like you cannot touch the animals at all. You're not allowed to hand feed them and all the sorts of things. Like there's, when we work in the elephants, the majority of the elephants are hands-on, but some of them are hands-off as well. So the reasons for the wildlife centre being hands off is because, one, they don't want us getting hurt because the gibbons and the monkeys and that are really, really strong. They can scratch you, they can bite you, and they can seriously harm you. Also, as well, they don't want us to be transmitting the zoonotic diseases. So, like, that's us transmitting it to them or them transmitting it to us.
It's especially in the primates.
Yeah. Also, the third reason is because the whole purpose of this organization is that they want to release these animals into the wild. So, you know, if we're being friendly with them, if we're touching them, if we're showing them that humans are kind and we're their friend, they're not going to want to go back to the wild, or they're going to, you know, think that every human's okay and they're not. Like, they will get abused, or they will not be able to fend for themselves. So
Yeah.
it's really, really strict.
They're basically trying to restore their natural animal instincts as well.
Yeah.
You know, so even though you feed them, it's usually done in a way where they don't really connect that with a human.
Yeah,
You know,
so like a gibbon, for example, like they're always like hanging from trees. So you'd put their food in a basket and you like pull it up with a rope. So it's like they've got no contact with you whatsoever. They just like they're up in their trees and they put their hands in the basket looking for the fruit. Yeah.
they give an example as well. For example, like bears. Yeah, they have bears here as well. So imagine the bears would be so accustomed to people, they would just walk into the village, yeah, whenever they wanted, because they would be so cool with people. And then obviously either some of the people could get hurt or the bear could get hurt.
Yeah,
the
because people
villagers
would be
wouldn't know.
scared. Yeah, they would just, you know, kill or attack the bear instantly. Yeah.
So yeah, Laurie, what about food here?
The food's amazing. Like, it's got really, really, really good vegan food. We get 3 meals a day and everything's clearly labeled and marked. So it'll say, like, you know, meat, vegetarian, and vegan. And usually there's like 2 vegan options, like for lunch and for dinner. And it's really nice. So yeah, they do heaps of stuff. Like, they do like curried potatoes and spicy potatoes and like lots of noodles, lots of rice, like fried rice. They do like fried mushrooms, and they've got Western nights where they have pastas and chips and salad, and there's always like fresh watermelon and normal melon, and just like it's really nice. The only thing that isn't great is the breakfast. So for like vegans, you can have fresh fruit or you can have some oatmeal with hot water, and that's literally all you can have. So we bought like a big jar of peanut butter, so we like have that with our fruit in the morning. And you could buy like soy milk and have it with cornflakes. But yeah, that's like, so breakfast is a bit like boring, but the lunch and the suppers are really good.
Yeah. And also if you're like working all day, like each meal is so rewarding.
It is like we've lost so much weight, but healthily though. Like, we're so fit and toned now from all the work and like just eating clean, and like, yeah, all my spots have went away from not eating like processed like fake meats, and yeah, it's just really
And
good.
we just drink water as well, so
Yeah,
you
mainly,
can
like,
imagine
yeah.
it's such a detox just to be
Yeah.
exercising every day,
You're just so
eating clean and drinking water all
yeah,
day.
like you're just so
Yeah.
grateful for cold water and like a really nice meal. Yeah, like occasionally we have like I'll have like a fizzy juice or whatever, but it's like, yeah, nothing like
It's
back
quite
home.
rare, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just talk a little bit about the rooms here. So they're generally very basic. The windows have mosquito nets though, which is cool, but the windows themselves cannot be closed. It's due to like, you know, they want to keep the airflow going, because imagine getting like mold in the rooms and stuff. That wouldn't be good.
You would die.
Yeah, exactly. The bathrooms and the actual showers are usually combined, and they're outside the rooms. But if you can get like you can get rooms that are that have 5 beds. It's for like 5 volunteers together.
Yeah, like a big dorm room.
And they usually have like the bathroom in there.
Yeah.
In the house, yeah.
And some toilets have like a automatic flush. Some have the scoop, like a pail in water that you need to flush it yourself.
Yeah, so it varies.
Yeah,
So
it really
on
does
where
vary.
you
Yeah.
are. So the next thing is washing. You can actually get laundry done in the center. It's 7 bahts per item, which is like 15 pence.
Yeah, it's not that expensive, but we found out like in the village it's cheaper. You can get like a whole kg of washing done for like 20 baht, and it takes an hour.
It's such a difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
if you're like, you know, if you're traveling for like a really long time, you try to find out all these like tips and like yeah.
The one advantage of getting it done in here is that they dry it for you as well. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, but it takes like 2 days.
Also, you cannot hand them in here. You cannot hand them underwear because it's like culturally kind of frowned upon, and you shouldn't do
Yeah.
that.
So sometimes like we'll put our work clothes into the center and then we just like wait till we've got like a pile of underwear and go do it at the village.
Yeah.
Because we're cheapskates.
Yeah. So yeah, work, Laurie?
Yeah, so we're going to tell you all about like what we've actually been doing in our next episodes because we feel like this episode will just be too long. Like, yeah, so we're going to do one on our experience in Wildlife Center and what we did on the elephant refuge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys might be wondering like what you can do to help not support tourism of animal cruelty. And one of the easiest things you can do is when you see like a person approach you with a pair of doves or with a monkey or with an animal that obviously your reaction is like, oh, cute, but just don't give that person attention because they've taken that animal out of its natural habitat to make money from it, and it's went through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and just had to perform a lot of things that it wouldn't usually do. And I know it's hard, like I know, like, because I've done it, like I've seen all these animals and you instantly think, oh my god, that's so cute, and you just don't know the background story, you don't know what they've been through, and it really is horrific, like when you find out that like what they go through. Like no monkey comes to a human and is like, oh, I want to be your friend. Like any animals that really that you see in any movies have all been through like
Horrific things.
yeah, horrific torture techniques and stuff to make them perform. Like they'll starve them, they won't feed them if they don't perform things that they want them to perform. And I think it's really important for us to know that as people, that not to think, oh, cute, but to think, you know, why is that monkey not with other monkeys in the wild?
Because you might think that all animals can be trained by reward, but that's not true. Like we've learned that, you know, many animals, especially the wild ones, you cannot train through reward. You need to break their like natural instinct and natural like kind of like the nature spirit they have, which is horrible.
It's so
yeah.
sad. Yeah. Also, like, you know, like same with the elephant tracking and like, you know, going and seeing tigers in temples, or like again getting pictures with them, riding them. Like please, please, please don't do it. Like the tigers, for example, get sedated. They don't want to be petted by people. It's really dangerous. And also like the elephant tracking, I've never heard such a tragic story of what every single elephant goes through. Like I saw footage of what everyone goes through. They're tortured for months, they're put in a small crate, they're beaten, and it's called it's the crushing of the elephant soul. And I'm not joking. Every elephant that you see on an elephant camp or in a movie, literally every single one of them have been through this. They've been battered with bull hooks and they've been taken from the wild. Like they're not meant to be serving us as humans as props. Like honestly, like I can't even explain what they go through.
Yeah, we'll talk about this actual process in our episode when we'll talk about the elephants.
I
and
know.
stuff.
I just really want to express it. Like it's really, really, really. I didn't understand what they went through, and I'm really glad that I've never supported anything like this. Like I said, like before, that I've done things like I've went to SeaWorld because I really wanted the connection with the animals, but nobody pointed out to me like, oh, do you think it should be in this tiny tank? Like, where did you think it came from? Like, I never understood that it was actually taken from its family, that the rest of its family was probably slaughtered, that the animal went through heaps of training. If it didn't perform, it was starved or it was beaten. Yeah, so
it's pretty crazy,
it's
yeah.
really, really, really intense, like what you find out here.
So the next thing, how you can actually help not to support all this, is just do your own research. You know, we live in the information age. Like you have access to information. So just wherever you go, only visit, if you want to have these connections with the animals, only visit rescue and rehab centers, please. And like I think this is pretty straightforward, but just do not purchase animal souvenirs. You know, just made from the animals, like ivory products or any kind of like, you know,
yeah, like snake,
meat
tiger
products
wine,
or
yeah,
whatever.
meat, ivory, like other animal products. Like when you stop buying, like the killing will stop. Like
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
main thing. Like don't just think, oh, but it's there anyway. Like it's there because people keep buying it.
Yeah,
If you
because there's
don't,
demand.
yeah, if you do not buy it, the people will understand, like, oh, this isn't a thing anymore. Like, these people don't want this anymore, and they'll just go on to a different thing. Yeah, and the best thing you can do is, like I never found out all this information till I came here, like, until people started pointing out things. Like, when I was a few years ago, I really wanted to ride an elephant. I had no clue what they went through, and I just started doing a bit of research. So please, like, tell your friends and family. Like, you'll see it, like, in Thailand, you see it everywhere, like, on the tourist information, like, elephant tracking, you know, you can do it for so cheap and this and that. Like, please just tell your family and friends, like, what the elephants go through, and it really isn't enjoyable at all. Like, an elephant's meant to have, like, a hump shaped back like a camel, and they're all, like, dented in, like, kind of like a horse, and it's so unnatural for their spine. It's
really painful for them, and they shouldn't even carry that much weight. Like, we'll talk about this in detail in the elephant episode.
Yeah, but please,
just please, like,
please stress, like, you know, just research it, like, what they go through, and explain to friends and family. The more people you tell, the more people you educate, the more people will get an understanding and not support this anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So we would like to give some special thanks and a shout out in this episode to Laurie and Jiri for staying alive, because it's been pretty intense, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been crazy, like, emotionally, mentally, phically, like, it's really weighting us down.
So yeah, more on that in the coming episodes, so please stay tuned.
Yeah, we're okay though, don't worry. So yeah, if you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Laurie and Jiri Go Wild. We'll be releasing pictures and updates about our travels there. Yeah, and if you have any questions, suggestions, or would just like to say hi, you can personal message us through our Facebook page or by email at ljgowild@gmail.com.
So yeah, that's it, guys. Have a lovely day, whatever and whenever you are. Stay inspired, happy, and wild.
Much love, guys. Bye.
Bye.